Hey guys, Jessie here from My Life in Arts and Crafts, and today I just want to give you a little quick tip. Actually, it's a couple quick tips in one. How to make your SVG cuts file, like your SVG cutting files cut. So, it's really easy. What I do, first, I save all my files into a file with their company name, and then I put them in a folder labeled SVG cuts. And I have it over here on my sidebar just so it's easy to drop things into. But sometimes I'm still kind of lazy and I don't always put them in right away. And then I have to look for them. So put them in as soon as you download them so it's a lot easier. So you can see I have a bunch down here that I didn't put away because I'm bad at that. So I'm just going to grab a file real quick. And these ones are from svgcuttingfiles.com. And these ones are really cute. So, what I do first, before I even drag anything like the cut file onto my mat, I always grab the JPEG. The JPEG is just an image of the file. And so, you can see here it says JPG, which is JPEG. And this is going to make it so it's easier to put an image together. And so, if you're used to using a Cricut, then you know that the book has all the layers color-coded so that it looks like the image over on the little icon. Same thing with a lot of the SVG cuts, like the little cutesy files. So I drag it onto my mat, and you can see it all moves together. If you go over here to your cut window, you can't even put a cut edge around the whole thing. It just doesn't work. So, what you have to do is you have to break the image apart. So, click on the image, and you're going to be using the Modify tab. But before you even do the Modify tab, and you see all these things, you have Weld and Compound Paths and Detached Lines and all kinds of stuff in here. You want to first ungroup the image as much as you can. So now I have ungrouped it, and you can see each box is selected individually inside the big box. If I click on just one, I can move that one singly. So now I'm just gonna kind of move stuff around, kind of making up my mind. Wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do because I know I want to cut this file out, but not all at the same time. Oops. See, I forgot that they were separate. You can't just move one at a time anymore. Or you have to move one at a time or do the whole thing selected. So, now I have my images on my mat, and you can see that they're just shapes. They're not going to cut. First thing I do, before I do anything else with sizing my files or making them cut files and all kinds of stuff, before I do any of that, I'm going to make a box. And I'm going to size this box to the size of my card that I'm going to make. This is just going to give me a template. And this has been in my other videos too. It's just something I do. So it doesn't fit. It's too small. I want it bigger. So I'm going to keep them all selected. And I'm going to drag them over towards my box, and now with that black part, the base of the image, I'm just going to size it till it fits nicely inside that box. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to drag them back up here. And now that I have ungrouped them enough, I can just put the cut line around them. Some of the files are different. Some of the files you can't just put a cut line around it. Some of them you have to break them apart. And I'll explain that in a second. So, I'm going to drag those off my mat. Now that they're all ready to cut, I'm just going to move them. So, because we're not working with them right this second. Excuse me. So I'm going to grab another file. So let's see. I know that svgcuts.com, you have to use Modify. So let me grab a file real quick. I'm just going to grab this shape. Drag it in. So, you can't just make this one a cut, even though it's only one shape. You have to break it. And when I say break it, I'm talking about the Modify tab, not the Ungroup. So, if you just click Make Compound, instantly turns into a cut file. White line, you're good. Or white with red lines, you're good. You're ready to cut. It's done. Now, what if you have two shapes together and you want to move them around separately? So, oops, double clicked. Didn't mean to do that. I do that every once in a while, and then I get this fun window. Okay, so let me move this, and let me move that all the way, because I'm going to show you something with that in a minute. So, I have two files here, or two pieces of this box. So, same thing. I'm just going to click them and make compound. Pretty simple. They turn into a cut line. You're ready to go. You can actually do this with a lot of the other files too, but I like ungrouping them and making it so you can see the color still. So you can see that I clicked release compound here, and by clicking release compound, it makes it so that I can move them around, because you couldn't click ungroup. There was no ungroup. So this was just my little quick tip on this, and if you're worried about it, you can always go to the cut line and check it. I know when I first started making SVG files with my Cameo, I had them on my mat and I couldn't cut them out, and it was frustrating because it would be there, but I didn't know to look at the cut window. So just make sure you look at your cut window if you're unsure. Now, if you wanted to make a perforated edge on anything, like say you wanted to make toppers, draw a line, press shift and draw your line, click the line so it's selected, and then you can see that I clicked perforate edge. By perforating the edge, you have a line that's not going to cut. It's just going to make a dotted line. And then I group them, and now I have a bag topper. You'd want to make sure it's in the center and make sure it's perfect, but that's just a tip. Thanks for watching.